But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste, he must be responsible for breaking the laws of nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities according to the different modes of nature: the activities of goodness, of passion, and of ignorance. Similarly, there are three kinds of eatables also: eatables in goodness, passion, and ignorance. All this is clearly described, and if we properly utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life will become purified, and ultimately we will be able to reach the destination which is beyond this material sky.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so what is Prabhupada mentioning here? So, yeah, it's a fact that for small things, people, humans, keep fighting among themselves just like animals. Just like if there's a piece of bread or something near the garbage can, their dogs or cats, animals, they might be fighting among themselves who is going to get that piece of bread. So practically, um, humans also maintain that same attitude. As you see, recently there was some news regarding some riots or something is going on in Punjab and all, Punjab side. So trying to claim, okay, this is my land or this is my country, or and fighting over these matters, it just like is, as per scriptures, it is just like calling among animals. So men must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like ordinary animals. So all animals, birds, what do they do? Eat, sleep, mate, and defend. So humans also, if we just keep ourselves limited to that, then we are no better than animals. And in the scriptures, there's a word called Dvipada Pashu. So we are two-legged animals. Animals walk on four legs. We walk on two legs. So it doesn't make any difference. A human being should realize the aim. So why a higher intelligence or a higher consciousness is given to humans, so that they can actually utilize that for a higher purpose. And what is that actual purpose for the humans? That this is the key that one can, this body is the key by which we can utilize to go back to Godhead or become self-realized. So this direction is given in all Vedic literatures, and the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita. Vedic literatures is meant for human beings, not for animals. Obviously, we can't. If you have a pet at your home, a parrot or a dog or cat or something, if you ask them to come and sit and hear and inquire or give some points or something, they're not going to. Probably they'll get some benefit by just hearing those sound vibrations, but practically they are not interested in one sense. If you see, you cannot call some animals and sit them together, make them sit together and discuss Bhagavad Gita or something. No, it's not possible. So animals can kill other living animals, and there is no question of sin on their part, just like tiger animal, or lions or any carnivorous animals and all these. They kill other animals, even the herbivorous ones, they kill the plants and all to eat. But there is no sin on their part, because that is what they are conditioned to do. They have got a particular, now a dog, you cannot stop a dog from barking. The dog is conditioned to do that. Similarly, a tiger is conditioned to eat flesh. You cannot stop, tell a tiger that okay, you have to be a vegetarian. No, it's not going to work. It will be something against the laws of nature for them. So but there's no sin on their part, because they are not violating the laws of nature. um, I mean, a dog is not going to mew like a, or make sound like a cow or something. The dog is conditioned to bark and to behave like a dog. Similarly, for other animals, or even if trees or plants, mango tree is not going to give you banana. It's going to give mango only. So whatever the lower forms, whatever as per the laws of nature, what kind of whatever kind of a body or whatever they have got, they behave accordingly. So they follow in one sense what is conditioning set for them as per the laws of material nature. But now we already saw that a human body, a human being is supposed to use this life for higher purpose in life, I mean for self realization. But if we do not do that, rather we involve ourselves in killing or animals for satisfying our tongue, or engaging in all wrong activities, for sense gratification, which means what, we are violating the laws of nature, and therefore we are punishable by the laws of nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities according to different modes of nature. So, what are they? The activities in goodness are in Sattva Gun, and those in passion are Raja Gun, and those in ignorance, that is Tamo Gun. Similarly, this we will see towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, ending chapters of Bhagavad Gita. In details, it is mentioned by Krishna there that everything can be categorized into these under these three modes. Similarly, the eatables, what we eat, that can also be classified in a mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. And if we properly utilize these instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life will be purified, and ultimately we'll be able to reach the destination which is beyond this material sky. So practically a common man may not know what is beyond the material sky. I mean, everything is here, isn't it? You're working a job or earning money, and you're living a luxurious life, you have a family and you're enjoying. So everything is there. Why to worry? But if you see, as per the scriptures, we are violating the laws of nature by not utilizing this human birth for self realization. Okay, so Shada Mataji, are you available to read this paragraph?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
That destination is called the Sanatana sky, the eternal spiritual sky. Yet gatva na nivartante tad dama paramam mama. In this material world, we find that everything is temporary. It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and vanishes. That is the law of the material world. Whether we use as an example this body or a piece of fruit or anything. But beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. The world consists of another. That world consists of another nature, which is Sanatana, eternal. The Jiva is also described as Sanatana, eternal, and the Lord is also described as Sanatana in the 11th chapter. We have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and because we are all qualitatively one, the Sanatana Dharma or sky, the Sanatana Supreme Personality, and the Sanatana living entities, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to revive our Sanatana occupation or Sanatana Dharma, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in different activities, but all of these activities can be purified when we give up all these temporary activities and take up the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. That is called our pure life. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so in the previous paragraph, we saw about something beyond this material sky, and that is the spiritual sky, or that is our actual destination in one sense. Not actual destination, but if you see, Prabhupada started a magazine, and it is titled Back to Godhead. Why back to Godhead? If we say I have to go back home, that means what? I stay, I mean, that's my actual place of residence, and now I have come here, and I have to go back to my home, back, because that's my place. So back to Godhead means what? We have all come from the spiritual world. Somehow or other we are stuck here. We fell into this material world. So now, by practicing this bhakti, we can go back to our actual home. So what we mention here in the material world, sweet home, so it's actually not sweet home, but the actual sweet home is present in the spiritual world, which is our actual destination. It's also called Sanatan sky, or the eternal spiritual sky. So in this material world, we find that everything is temporary, and practically we have that experience. Mm, you cannot point out one thing that okay, it is permanent. Even our own body, it's changing. From a small child, it has grown up to a little kid, and then grown up, and now it's a particular body we have. Then one, it will grow more, one will become adult or something, and then one will grow, become old. So practically everything is changing, everything is temporary. It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. That is the law of material world, whether we use as an example this body or a piece of fruit or anything. So that is practical. If you keep a fruit or anything vegetable outside, it's fresh, it must have grown from a small seed, and now it is a very nice fruit. But after some time, if you just keep it like that outside, nowadays it's summer, so if you keep it outside, after some days you'll see that it's getting rotten, and it will be waste. You have to throw it away. So that's the law of material nature. That's the law in this material world. And but beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. So from where we get this information? We get it from the scriptures. That world consists of another nature, which is Sanatan or eternal. If one says that okay, can you show me that? Practically we don't have eyes to even see the air, or many things we cannot see. We cannot see, sitting in a particular room, you cannot see what is happening on the road. So how can we demand to see something of the spiritual nature with our blunt senses? So, but it exists, and that we can know from higher authorities, that is the scriptures. The Jiva is also described as Sanatan. So, we are Jiva or Jivatmas, living entities. We are also Sanatan. Sanatan means what? Eternal. And the Lord is described as Sanatan in the 11th chapter. We have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and because we are all equalitatively one, the Sanatan Dham or sky, the Sanatan Supreme Personality, and the Sanatan living entities, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to revive our Sanatan occupation or Sanatan Dharma, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. So practically, if we see, the Supreme Lord is eternal, we are also eternal, and the spiritual world is also eternal. And we are all supposed to, and we all have an intimate relationship with the Supreme Lord, and we are all coming from that spiritual world, and we have a spiritual duty, or a spiritual, our eternal nature, constitutional position is to be a servant of the Lord. So our occupation, eternal occupation, which is called Sanatan Dharma. Practically, Prabhupada will say further also that the word Sanatan Dharma, there is no exact equivalent in English, but the nearest one can be taken as Sanatan occupation. So, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in different activities, but all of these activities can be purified when we give up all these temporary activities and take up the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. That is called our pure life. So temporary, practically, when we are identifying ourselves with our material body, which itself is temporary, so we have based our whole existence on this temporary body, then whatever we may be doing with this consciousness or with this body it's all temporary. That is to be understood. But we can purify our activities by engaging in activities which is prescribed by the Lord, or what we are supposed to do. If we follow what we are actually supposed to do with this human body, then we can be properly situated. So practically, um, we saw our real position in this material world. What we are doing, we are just being like animalistic propensities and all but by being so, we are just breaking the laws of nature, so we are punishable. In fact, but so what is the other side, that we are actually coming from the spiritual world. We are all eternal spiritual beings, and therefore we should endeavor to go back to that spiritual, our actual home. So that's how we can, and by engaging in activities which are prescribed by the Lord, we can actually go back to that spiritual world, and that's how we can purify our life in the in this human form. Okay, probably we'll do one more paragraph. The Supreme Lord and his transcendental abode are both Sanatan. So this we saw here also, the Sanatan Dham and the Supreme Lord. So, as are the living entities, and the combined association of the Supreme Lord and living entities in Sanatan abode is the perfection of human life. So, this human body is like a rare opportunity for us to actually go back to our home and re-establish that relationship, or reawaken. It's already there, so but we have to reawaken that relationship with the Supreme Lord. The Lord is very kind to the living entities because they are his sons. Lord Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita. Practically, if you see, Prabhupada uses the word causeless mercy at many places in his books. So why causeless mercy? Because we didn't deserve this mercy of coming to Krishna consciousness. It's the, we never endeavored, oh, I want to do bhakti, I want to chant the names of God, but somehow or other, um, by some arrangement, probably there might be a spark, um, uh, small desire, or a inquisitiveness, just like in Bhagavad Gita 7 chapter, Krishna says that 4 kinds of people come to Krishna consciousness. So somehow Krishna as Paramatma must have seen a little thing, and may not be even that, but just by mercy of a pure devotee, or by the mercy of the Lord, we have come to Krishna consciousness. So we can see how kind the Lord is, that even if we rejected him, but still he's always there with us as Paramatma, and it's always guiding, trying to guide us. We are not taking his guidance. We didn't take his guidance from so many lifetimes, but now somehow we were fortunate to come to Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Yunishu Aham Bija Pradapita, I am the father of all. So he claims all living entities to be his sons. All living entities, even germs, worms, microbes, plants, animals. Of course, there are all types of living entities according to their various karmas. But here the Lord claims that he is the father of all of them. Therefore, the Lord descends to reclaim all of these fallen conditioned souls, to call them back to the Sanatan eternal sky, so that the Sanatan living entities may regain their eternal Sanatan positions in eternal association with the Lord. So he comes in different avatars, in different yugas, in order to um, give that transcendental knowledge, and to take the living entities back to Godhead. The Lord comes himself in different incarnations, or he sends his confidential servants as sons, or his associates or acharyas, to reclaim the conditioned soul. So repeatedly Krishna has been trying to, in different ways, to take us back to Godhead. So we should make his work easy by becoming devotees. So I'll stop here. We did 3 paragraphs. Further we'll continue tomorrow. If anybody, not if anybody, everybody can please share at least one point from what we discussed today, or if you have any questions, then we can try to discuss on that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I remember one point, maybe this point comes in the introduction only, that Krishna performed his pastimes just to attract the conditioned souls to him. So, like just here it is said that he himself comes, or he sends his confidential servant or son. He's trying in that way by sending his associates, and from his side also he's trying by displaying very beautiful pastimes, so that by seeing that pastimes, actually I read in Bhagavatam somewhere, I don't know, but that when the pastimes with his devotees are very sweet, and when a conditioned soul reads or hears that pastimes, then he also develops, like we also develop that desire, that oh, that we should also have that relationship with the Lord. So I just remember this one, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, very nice point you mentioned. And yeah, I think I have also read similar. Probably I don't remember whether it was Bhagavad Gita or some other book, but yeah, Prabhupada. Um, I have read this in Prabhupada's books, and thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing that point. Okay, Anisha Mataji, by not utilizing this body for self-realization, we are violating the laws of nature. Therefore, we must endeavor to go back home, back to Godhead by taking up Krishna consciousness. Yes, so that is repeatedly Prabhupada it says in his books also, as well as in his lectures. If you see, they're not very much oh, this bhava or this pastimes of the Lord. It's not too much into all these things. When it comes to the basic point that okay, you have to realize that you're not this body. Krishna is coming. Krishna is giving you so many opportunities. So take up Krishna consciousness. Go back to Godhead. So basic point he mentions that okay, you're not this body. You're a spiritual being. So do not waste your human form of life. Rather, take up Krishna consciousness seriously and you can be properly situated. So, practically this is a basic thing in Krishna consciousness. If we can just realize that I'm not this body but actually eternal servant of Krishna, then we are in very good shape. So, thank you, Mataji, for highlighting that very important point. Okay, so I think then we can close for today, and tomorrow we'll continue from the next paragraph.